How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. Yep, we're back on the strobing palm tree island. As someone in the comments said, this is where all the rich people go. Yeah, the reason why these palm trees are strobing, by the way, is because it's on like super low detail. And I obviously probably would have fixed that and just put it back on higher detail. But it's kind of cool, and I don't know, it's kind of funny to look at. Anyway, yeah, welcome to Strobe Tree Island, and I'll be your host for this vacation, Manatee Gaming. Anyway, guys, I want to talk about a couple things we talked about last time, and that was the Luck of the Dwarves ring. A lot of people posted in the comments below about the Hazelmere's ring, Hazelmere's signet, whichever one it is, whatever it's. I think it's the Hazelmere's ring. And people are going after that and using Luck of the Dwarves. That is 100% true. Yes, I do 100% agree that that is a good cause as to why they are rising. But something you got to remember, though, guys, is when there's a trend or a hype, the stuff actually behind the scenes, like I was just talking about in the last video, about people pumping them and buying them up, it's the same situation. People will pump them and buy them up because they know that people are going to buy them for whatever reason thing. It is obvious, yes, that the Slayer update is definitely causing it, as a majority of people that I've talked to about the Luck the Doors ring have actually told me they bought one for Slayer. But yes, I do 100% agree that the Hazelmere's hunt is, another reason for them rising. It's a combination of two. I really should have mentioned the other one, and thank you for, commenting below about your opinions of why you think it's rising, and I definitely agree with that. So we've got more than one reason why they're rising, and then we have people behind the scenes that are buying them up. There are people literally that will buy thousands of these rings. They did it last time to pump them up, and they'll definitely do it again, and they will do it this time. The reason why is because Luck of the Dwarf ring is actually still fairly a low volume item in the Grand Exchange. There's not really that many in the game. I mean, obviously there's thousands upon thousands, but in comparison to a lot of other things, there's not that many in the game. And so when you've got individual players that are buying 1,000 or more of a ring, and if you honestly don't think that people can afford to buy 1,000 rings, I will let you know, guys, there are a lot of rich people, a lot of rich people in this game, and probably a lot more rich people in this game than you honestly think there are. Yeah, that is definitely a big cause of that. I just kind of wanted to comment on that in this one. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, and this is, by the way, our second video of the 30-day video upload challenge. And I am doing these videos as part of just a basic challenge that is going to be a full 30 days of making videos, just to throw out a ton of new content for you guys, so you guys can load up to your heart's desire on new content. But anyway, yeah, as always, I want to be a big shout out to everybody on the Patreon. I just released a giant money making method today, so a big shout out to everybody who's going to be enjoying that new money making method and making some bank. But for everybody else who's not on the Patreon, I do definitely really appreciate your support. For following and subscribing and everything else. You guys are awesome, and I really enjoy making content and sharing with you guys. So the next thing I want to talk about is, like I said in the last video, what I was going to talk about today, and that is the Slayer drops and how that's going to affect the next Double Experience weekend. So here we go, guys. The first thing that I would like to mention is going to be the Double Experience weekend is still basically going to be scheduled for the fall. A lot of people, I think, are thinking that, hey, Double Experience weekend came early. We had big Double XP. The thing is, though, there really was nothing that said that this was the fall one coming early. We just had basically an extra Double Experience weekend, and until there is new information to prove that one wrong, you can just go ahead and assume there's going to be another Double Experience weekend around September like there normally is. Because we're having the Runefest around that time. They normally do a Double Experience weekend around that time, there was not really any indication of that changing at the moment. But if that does, then yeah, I'll let you guys know. So right now, our big thing that we're looking at as far as like investing, and kind of one thing I'm helping everybody on the investing mastery passes on Patreon actually is trying to let you guys know about the effects of Slayer 120 on investing and how it's going to change our future outlook on a lot of our products. So the first thing I want to mention, guys, is the stuff that is like finished from the last Double Experience weekend. So stuff that people made, like dragon hide bodies. People made a lot of dragon hide bodies, or pouches. People made a lot of pouches. There was actually a lot less pouches made this time during this last Double Experience weekend than there normally is, and there's an obvious reason for that, and that is because people did not have enough time to stock up the amount of summoning stuff that they normally do like as far as charms. Like people usually have a full 6 months before in between the double experience weekends in order for people to stock up on those charms. And there was not as many There's not as many charms stocked up. Man, I need more coffee, like always. And so, what that ended up resulting in was a lot less pouches being made. I noticed how the pouches that normally drop way down did not really drop anywhere near as far, and spiked back up pretty quickly. So what we can expect for the next double experience weekend, if it does come at its normal scheduled time in 3 months or so, is that the pouches are once again going to be not as frequently made. They're not going to be as high volume of pouches in the game, which could mean a couple things for investing. The first thing that could mean, honestly, is that people are going to look for more things besides just summoning. Something we noticed in the last double experience weekend is the price of mahogany planks. Mahogany planks went up to over 3,000 gold each on the forums. There were people buying them for incredibly high amounts of money. 3,000 gold, or 3,000 to 3,100 roughly, is what they hit in the Grand Exchange itself, which is an all-time high ever for mahogany planks in the last few years, and maybe in the entire existence of the game. I'm not sure on that one. But that's like all-time high. So what we can keep in mind, guys, is the fact that there is a big reason why they have gone up like that, and that is mostly because certain activities that we normally do during Double Experience Weekend, we do not have enough time to stock up for because the fact it was only a 3-month in between. So like I was just talking about with the whole summoning thing, with less people doing one activity, that means there's going to be more money put into other activities, which is another reason why we saw a lot of other items rising to pretty incredibly high amounts. Another thing we saw too was the fact that herblore prices were extremely high this last double experience weekend, and that is because people are making overloads and other potions in order to prepare themselves for 120 Slayer. Well, the thing is, dudes, that most players are not going to get 120 Slayer within that first 3-month period. Well, actually, they're not even going to get an entire 3 months because 120 Slayer is not released yet, and Double Experience Weekend was already quite a while back, which means that you're going to have probably right around 2 months or so to get 120 Slayer. Not too likely for everybody to get that, which means that people are going to be doing a lot of herblore on the next double experience as well. Because they're going to want to finish off that 120 Slayer. They're going to want to save up and do the buyables. That way they can do 120 Slayer if they're not able to. A lot of players don't have these required skills to be able to do a Slayer efficiently right now, and those players are going to really want those skills when 120 Slayer actually does come out because they want to do it. It's new content. They obviously are going to want to do that. So we need to keep that in mind, and we can expect herblore prices to be outrageously expensive on the next double experience weekend. But there's another side to that story, and the other side of that story is right here. So with the fact that of everything I just said, something else you got to think about is with everybody doing 120 Slayer, there's going to be a lot of drops coming in the game, guys. A lot of drops. Jagex has been talking about removing a lot of the supply drops, like resource drops from monsters. But that's not been implemented yet, and we also don't know when that will be implemented, and we don't honestly have any idea of how that would be implemented. So we can't really, really can't really prepare for that. When we saw the little teaser thing for the new Slayer monsters, how you get all the items out of the chest, we did see that there was stuff in that chest that was not only gold. We did see, I think it was a battle staff that we saw. So it is apparent that Jagex is still planning on doing resource drops and item drops in the new chests. So we should just plan that there is going to be a ridiculous amount of new resources coming into the game. That means tons and tons and tons of new herbs, tons and tons of gems, tons and tons of all kinds of stuff. What can we probably assume? Well, actually, I'll get that in a second. I guess I want to say first that another thing we should keep in mind, in fact, is these new chests, guys. There's not going to be stuff dropped on the ground, which means everything's going to be picked up in the chest, which means all those little bitty small items that people usually don't pick up, like maybe it's like one U log or one magic log. Just for examples, a lot of people would not pick up those kind of things from Slayer drop because that takes extra time away from Slayer and is not really efficient. Well, the thing is, when everything is put into a big magical box in the middle, then that means all those drops that you would normally not have picked up, you will actually be getting, and they will make their way to the Grand Exchange. Previously, they would have just disappeared on the ground, and nobody would have actually put them in for sale, which means they would have not affected the overall volume of the economy. But with the fact that now people are going to be putting all that stuff in the economy, we can definitely assume that this is definitely going to have a massive effect on the economy. if it does go as normal. If the new Slayer mobs drop a whole bunch of items like the existing ones do, and you're able to loot the chest and just dump all that crap in the Grand Exchange, you can bet the prices are going to drop. So we kind of have to look at this both ways, though, guys. So there's going to be a lot of people doing Herblore and everything else during the next Double Experience weekend. You can expect an increased number of people doing Herblore. There will be quite a bit more Slayer charms, or it's not really Slayer charms. There will be quite a bit more charms coming in with everybody focusing hard on summoning, or sorry, on Slayer, which means that summoning would, I would definitely expect there to be more summoning done this next Double XP than there was in the last one, but still not quite as much as the whole 6-month stretch, and that's just kind of my take on that. And then we can assume that people are going to be doing a lot of Herblore, which means Herblore prices are going to be going up. But we also have to keep into consideration the fact there's going to be a lot more Herblore stuff coming in the game. Even if the new Slayer creatures don't drop a whole lot of resource stuff, like they don't drop a whole bunch of supplies, the existing creatures in the game, which people are still going to be killing because I'm pretty sure that not all of your contracts are going to come from the new city, especially if you have a lower Slayer level, and you have to remember there's a lot of players in the game that do not even have 90 Slayer, like probably a majority of the game. And those people are going to be killing the normal Slayer monsters, and I know they're going to be doing a lot of that, so we're going to be getting a lot of those existing things coming in game. So, all in all, guys, what to take away from this little Spark Note section is that players are going to be doing a lot of Herblore in the next Double Experience weekend, just like this most recent one. And there's also going to be a lot of new supplies coming into the game, so we kind of have to kind of just guess and speculate as far as how that's going to overall affect what we should be investing into. Because it's pretty obvious that when you buy stuff up for Double Experience weekend and then sell it on Double Experience weekend, you're going to make money. That one, we already know that one. But the thing is that makes this a little bit unknown is because we don't know how much new stuff is going to come in, despite the fact that we know there's going to be an increased demand in skills such as Herblore. We can also expect people to want to do crafting a lot more as well, and that is just simply because not a lot of people are going to have all these summoning charms saved up to do a lot of summoning. A lot of people, a lot of the especially high-level players, very, very rich players in the game, will do like 100 million summoning during Double Experience weekend. If they don't have enough charms to do that, that means they're going to have several hours to put into something else, which could be mostly the expensive skills because that's what people buy into. Alright guys, probably more on this in our next video. Maybe, maybe not. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But if you guys have more questions or comments on everything I just talked about in this video, and I know it's quite the overload of information, but please let me know your feelings on the next Double Experience weekend. Do you think we're going to have it during the next normally scheduled time? Do you think that people are going to be doing a lot of Herblore and crafting? Do you think that I'm wrong and people are going to be doing way more summoning than they normally do? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that subscribe so you guys can catch the rest of the 30-day upload video upload challenge that I'm doing right now and hit all this content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.